What we have here is some hand loads for this is a 10 millimeter auto, and this is a hand load for backpacking. So I have a friend in California, and she had this crazy experience with three bears that basically hunted her. Um, there hasn't really been a situation like that from the person that came to the scene that he's ever heard of. She called 911, and then they dispatched him. I can't remember what service he was with, but the forest something. He had a mandate to go kill the bears. Uh, but I don't want to go too much into the story, but basically, the three really huge black bears, obviously, in California, um, they got wind of her, and they pursued her into this talus, and she couldn't. She was cornered, and they kept pushing into her zone, and she was kind of forced up this talus that they couldn't get up, and they just stayed there for an hour or so. She was very freaked out. They were making really strange sounds. There's a little bit of speculation that maybe it was just mating season and she was in the wrong place, wrong time. But the a lot of the word on the street with black bears is they're like, oh, they're just these raccoon type behaviors. You just make a sound and they just go away. You know, that's the consensus like on the street. And this is definitely not the case. These things were actually going after her and trying to, problem solve how to get at her. Because I mean, she was posing no threat at some point when she's on this talus top, and um, they were trying to basically climb the talus to get up to her. So we're talking like 20 feet. Um, yeah. So anyway, this is in Tahoe region, and I've been carrying a little 40 Smith and Wesson handgun once in a while in the trails up there, and I think I'm gonna get a little more serious about what I'm bringing for woods carry. So I decided to look up some of my recipes for um, what what shoots kind of nicely. Like the most potent thing I had was a 200 grain hardcast. This is a coated hardcast bullet from Acme. Um, Very cool company that makes projectiles. They also have a 220 grain. I might try that with a 10 millimeter Magnum at some point, but not for woods carry because I don't think I ever gonna want to take this in the woods carry. It's about 2 pounds. It's just not very practical. This is a Glock 29. This is probably my go-to. Um, I don't think I'll be shopping for any more guns. I just realized my pin's sliding out. Pop that back in. Um, so I'm gonna be just relying on pretty potent hand load with the Glock 29. It'll give a nice kick. I got a couple full mags. I'll have like one that's in sort of condition zero with a full mag, and then I'll just carry a second mag. I figure three bears. It could probably take up to 15 bullets to take out a huge bear. I've definitely read stories that these things, or well, I've read stories about grizzlies that take 30, 40 sometimes, and then with a perfect hit, you can finally take it out. Of course, um, assuming these are very large, as she was saying. I mean, you said they're enormous, and I don't want to just bring like a crazy amount of ammo with me, but in the past I was like, well, if something comes and sniffs me and it just sort of pushes into me a little bit instead of runs off, because I've seen some black bears, and they don't seem too big, and I figured, oh, I'll just bring like a single magazine of some 40 Smith & Wesson, and out of a little Glock 27. Maybe that'll be good. But since her situation was encountering three huge black bears that were hunting her, I'm thinking at least two full mags. So like standard magazine carries about 15. And if you have so you have grandfathered Glock mags, you'll be all good for that. So yeah, I think that's my plan, is to just have some potent 10 millimeter with my Glock 29. This thing is pretty nice and light, and it's just been a slight upgrade as far as woods carry. But definitely worth it. This is like proof is in the pudding. Like this happened to someone I know really well. Craziest bear story I've ever heard, other than just lore of Alaska grizzly stories. Obviously, those take the cake. But the only thing that didn't happen is basically she didn't get mauled and killed. Like everything else happened. It was a complete travesty. So yeah. So again, this is for me when I have some Starline brass, and I packed 9 grams of Longshot. 9 grains of Longshot powder in here. I don't think I've ever fooled with anything more than that. It's the Longshot powder now has either a different recipe on the whoever makes Longshot, I can't remember right now. But on their website they have a recipe list, and just saying this is, if you're using this projectile, you're using this blah blah blah. If you're using this bullet type, then these are your ranges, your safety ranges. Anyways, they've really scaled back Longshot quite a bit. So if you look in some of the old reloading books, Longshot had quite a bit of more upper limits. So I went with my old books. I don't think that they might not have changed their recipes, but they might have just become a little more timid and conservative on their max loads. So this is officially, just a little bit of a warning. I mean, please do due diligence, because I think 9 grains is beyond the max recommended load. But according to my reloading books, that's totally within reason. So I went with what I've tested before, the upper limit, 9 grains. I remember that being pretty stout, where my brass was actually hitting probably the ejector pretty damn hard and kind of denting, but they were coming out perfectly. I had no failure to feeds or anything. But I remember it was like, okay, don't push this round any farther beyond 9 grains, perhaps with the Glock at least. Maybe a revolver would be totally fine. So again, so this is an Acme 200 grain hardcast coated bullet, and Starline brass, CCI primers, and 9 grains of Longshot powder. And I don't have I've never tested the velocities of these things, but I was just going based off of the kick of the gun, and I was like, oh well, this is manageable. So I know that bullet will be getting out of that gun pretty fast. So I'm pretty comfortable with that as being like a really stout woods carry. So that's the deal. Like, here we are in California, and there are rumors that they've been misreporting the bears out here, maybe nationally, but definitely in California. And there's been a lot of bear sightings. And now that basically my friend had a close call with 3 huge ass bears that hunted her, I think it's sensible to bring bear spray and a handgun or a rifle if you're in the national forests. Yeah, so just just a little heads up, and hope that was slightly informative.